So this video is 5 hidden signs of childhood trauma by Psych2Go. We're gonna look into this and see where do we agree, where do we disagree, and maybe we'll learn something. But yes, if you're watching this on YouTube, also check us out on Twitch. We be turning up. All right, let's go.
Did you have a difficult childhood? Childhood trauma can have a negative effect on how you perceive and relate to the people and the world around you.
Very
it's
true.
characterized as anything that makes a child feel alone, vulnerable, overwhelmed, or frightened. In the grand scheme of things, the trauma you experienced as a child may have robbed you of your childhood. Curious to learn more?
True.
Here are 5
like
hidden signs your childhood was robbed.
Meant for educational purposes only.
Number 1, you completely avoid intimate relationships. Do you find it hard to build intimate relationships with people? Are you constantly worried about how they may act or react in certain situations that you aren't the most comfortable in?
I would say for me, like, with my because I did have a difficult childhood, but the thing is, I was always in a place where I loved meeting people and getting to know people, but I do also have the paranoia, like, of overthinking every interaction and how this person may think of this or what they may think of that or what they may think of, it's just like a constant thing that can, oh God, I don't need this honest video right now. We are going to face our demons. But yeah, like it can be a weird thing, I would say, from my experience, because I do love people, but I am also nervous about being around people. And I do constantly overthink everything, replaying conversations, replaying like, okay, I said this and they said this and they said that. Yeah. Like, how did they walk away? What do they think of me now? It's a whole thing.
Some people may leave their home at the first chance they get to be as far away from their childhood environment as possible. However, the painful memories from it may stay with them no matter how far they go. You may become apprehensive of all types of relationships and fearful of being trapped or hurt by your partner as you had been in the past. As a result,
oddly enough, I would say for me, the issues I have with people wasn't based on the trauma from my childhood, but the trauma from meeting different people and being so open. And like, because when I left, I was like, I'm free. And I was just like I'm a friendly person, but I was like extra friendly back then. My husband used to say that I walk blindly with my arms just wide open, right, to anybody. And it wasn't the trauma of my childhood that made me have like even more issues with people. It's, and actually I would say also the mindset, when I think about it now, the mindset that I have where I'm overthinking everything that I'm doing or saying in a conversation or what their person's saying actually wasn't based off of my childhood. It's more so based off of the trauma that I received from toxic friendships, or meeting toxic people, or people who do stupid-ish to you for stupid reasons, like when I worked at Walmart and this guy was doing all the stuff that started all this drama just because he wanted to be a supervisor. I'm like, this is Walmart, this isn't like a CEO position. This is like supervisor of like 4 people at Walmart. Like, let's calm down, So it was more so those relationships that caused me to have the social anxiety that I have now versus the actual trauma I had from my traumatic childhood. People be crazy. It's always a struggle being open to people, especially in the workplace. It's always hard to know who to trust because corporate mindset is not even just corporate. The mental mindset of a lot of people can be just like really.
Despite having a need for intimacy, you may avoid it entirely. Number 2, you've taken over the role of the helper. Are you often labeled as the helper or parent of your friend group?
I am.
If you grew up in a traumatic household, you might have taken over the role of being the helper, thinking that you owe it to the people around you to serve, assist, and save them. Sometimes you may even find peace in the fact that the people you care about are happy and well taken care of.
I do.
But at the same time, as a result, you may end up developing a muddled sense of self-identity outside the role of the assistant. Number 3,
Okay, this one was on the nose. Right? It hit deep. Dang, this hit a deep place, right? Didn't it? Didn't it? You said, I hope I don't get all five. The scary thing about people is you never know what their intentions are. That's true. Some people would be like that. Yeah, I would say in this one, they got me. I am known as the helper with a lot of my friends. I am known as the parent a lot of the times when it comes to my friends. I was also the older sibling. I am the oldest sibling of my siblings when we were younger, going through what we were going through. I would say that I legitimately, even what's last year, had that mindset of like, outside of being a coordinator, you know, it's a part of imposter syndrome for me. I'm like, outside of being the helper or being the coordinator, right? Where else do I fit in? You know, what else do I have to offer? That's a question I ask myself often. Often, I'm like, you have like the friend that's the funny one, you have the friend that's the cool one, you have the friend that's this. I'm like, outside of being the person that gets people together, because even before I was doing YouTube, like I was in every friendship that I had, I have always been I will set it up and I'll make the plans, let's get together type of thing. I was rarely in a situation where I had someone inviting me to things to go to. I was almost always the inviter. So that mindset of like, well, if I'm not doing this, right, they're not really calling. They're not really reaching out, you know, unless they need something. Um, you know, what else? Who am I outside of that, you know, to these people, I would say. That one
Appear
hit me.
happy on the outside.
You got me.
Even when you're sad. Do you love making
this
people
one.
laugh? Perhaps you were even
For
known
sure.
to be the class clown, the joker, in
I
the
wouldn't
life
say
of the
class
party.
clown for me, but
This habit to make people laugh and joke around may have developed as a way to ease conflict and to mask the grief you've been through. However, even though you may appear to be the happiest person in the room, deep down, you may be unable to connect with your inner self.
So
underneath,
with this, I will say it's kind of, I only fit into this part, not the other part. I don't actively go out of my way typically to make a lot of people laugh if I'm really sad. I think naturally I try to live in an honest place with my feelings where if something's actually funny, then I'm going to laugh, right? No matter what. Even if I'm crying, even if at funerals, like the thing, like I've been to a lot of funerals, it's not a good thing, but like when funny things happen at a funeral, you laugh, even with tears in your eyes welled up with tears, swell up with tears, and you laugh, right? Or I laugh. And my family's kind of like that as well. But, I have developed the ability, and this is through severe depression and stuff like that I went through. I have developed the ability that when even though I am sad, I am able to present as if I'm not, you know, present as if things are better than they are, or be able to just put it, like bottle it up, have a good time if I'm with people, and then just go back to the feelings when I'm alone. Not saying that that's healthy. I'm not saying that that's good, but I'm just saying how that relates to what they're saying.
The jokes and laughter, you might feel lonely, anxious, and afraid. Number 4, you often feel empty. Is it hard for you to pinpoint what you're feeling? Perhaps
sometimes
it feels like a void within you that nothing can fill. The appearance of emptiness can vary from person to person. Some people get a noticeable empty feeling in their stomach or chest. Others experience emotional numbness, a sense of floating around, indifference, or a sense of unfulfillment. You may experience a sense of emptiness from believing that something significant is missing from your life. And oftentimes, what's frequently absent is the access to emotions that were deemed invalid when you were a child.
I don't know if I truly agree with that last one. Personally, for me, right? For me, like I have this thing where I think for a lot of us, there are things that give us complete and utter joy. And when we're stuck in like a mundane type of routine, and we are not accessing or doing those activities that provide us joy, I feel like things like that happen. That feeling of emptiness, a feeling of lack of purpose, feeling like you are like this despair that you may feel, right? And for me, that's where that can tie in. Like if I'm in a mundane rut for like a few days or a week, and certain things that would bring or plant flowers of joy for me and bring me like ultimate happiness, if those things are not happening or I'm not doing those things, then it will start to creep into this like feeling of like, okay, like that emptiness, that despair, that, you know, that's when that starts to kind of start in. Bye, Many Voices. Thanks for coming through. Yikes, Grimlaw. I'm sorry. Because you forced yourself to be happy for so long, you don't even know how to approach sadness anymore. I'm late. Hey, y'all. That's okay. See you. Thanks for coming through. All right, number 5, you can't relate to those around you.
Number 5, you can't relate to those around you.
This
Were your
isn't my
emotional
thing.
needs met when you were a child? Emotional neglect can leave you with the impression that something is wrong with you, but you may be sure of what it is or why you feel that way. This is a typical symptom, since emotional neglect can negatively impact your sense of self and your relationship with other people. Do you think your childhood was robbed? Let us know in the comments below.
That last one was kind of light. I thought we were going to get a little bit more on it. But number 5, you can't relate to those around you. I don't feel like the explanation really rounded back 100% to the point there on this last one. But the sentiment of you can't relate to those around you, I feel like that's where I you know, am in a different place than this statement. A lot of the times, because I can be extremely empathetic for people, I can a lot of the times do the whole put myself in their shoes to try to understand them and how they got to the decisions that they got to, or why they did what they did, you know, see it from their side, and find out where we relate. Those are normally the points of where we relate, and then how they made these decisions and where they go to. And I do feel like I can relate to a lot of the people around me. I can. Was there ever a point? No, I'm trying to think if was there ever a point where I felt like I couldn't relate to the people around me, and not like in a moment. Yes, there have been moments, right? Because you go to a place that you've never been before and you meet these people and you're like, yeah, I don't really have a lot to go with these people. And then you leave and come home to people that you do relate to, right? But like over a span of like months, I have not been in a situation where I was surrounded by people that I couldn't relate to. That wasn't it for me. But let me know for you guys, like, where did you score out of these? Like, what were the things for you? I know, kind of going through the numbers again. Number 1 was, what was number 1? Hold on.
Did you have a difficult child?
Okay, hold on. We're gonna see what number 1 was so we can. Okay. Number 1 was you completely avoid intimate relationships. Okay. Number 2 is you have taken over the role of the helper. Number 3 is you appear happy on the outside even when you're sad. Number 4 is you often feel empty. And number 5 is you can't relate to those around you. Let me know what was your score? How many out of the 5? Or if you want to take one of the 5 that really hit for you, let me know down below. I went over in detail, within the video where I relate and what I don't relate to. But I'd like to hear your stories. Let me know down below. All right, on to the next video.